session where we are discussing Zoom meetings. Idaho Title 74 Transparent and Ethical Government Chapter on Open Meetings Laws. I don't see how discussing whether or not to discontinue Zoom is appropriately in an executive session. That is one reasonable for the public to participate in. And if we actually just look at that screen, that is a significant increase of the number of Zoom people. There's a lot of comments from the community regarding Zoom. I don't see the legal standard for putting it in executive session. So under Title 74, it clearly states that we're to use executive session very narrowly. It says to consider, A is to consider hiring a public officer or employee is an option. For B, to consider the evaluation, dismissal, or discipline of or to hear complaints or charges brought against a public officer. C says to acquire an interest in real property not owned by the public. D, to consider records that are exempt from disclosures as provided in Chapter 1. E, to consider preliminary negotiations involving matters of trade or commerce in which the governing body is in competition with governing bodies in other states. F, to communicate with legal counsel. It specifically states legal counsel's present is not justification for executive session. G, by the Commission of Pardons and Parole.
I will call a point of order, and since you're going to quote the law, I'm going to have our legal review explain to you why that is going to executive session.
Point of order isn't used to silence a commissioner.
Commissioner Williams, I have brought it to a point of order. Comment is through. Bill will address this. Thank you very much.
Chairman, Commissioner Williams, I mentioned in our last meeting how one of the appropriate bases to go into executive session is to discuss an exempt record, including one that I've given to the board that contains attorney-client privileged material. That would be the basis upon which we would go into executive session to discuss this topic. Again, whether or not the board chooses to go into executive session is discretionary, and so you could still choose to have this meeting in an open, or this discussion in an open meeting if you chose to do that. Thank you.
Is point of order to silence a commissioner from speaking? Is that what it's used for?
No, it'll bring the meeting back to order, so and you will find out the reason for this. Rob's rules
of order are not codified in the law. How you guys choose to handle and conduct the meeting is really not my place to have input on that topic. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, there's a motion on the floor. If necessary, I would call the question and ask for a second so that we could move forward with the business of Bonner County.
I would second that.
You have to step down from the chair, please.
I would step down from the chair and second that. All in favor?
Roll call vote.
Yes.
No.
Yes.